A historical masterpiece spanning millennia, why does merits and demerits of political systems in dynastic China remain an eternal classic for studying Chinese politics? Qian Mu's grand historical perspective, the book delves into the political systems of the Han, Tang, Song, Ming, and Qing dynasties, revealing why Chinese politics endured for centuries yet experienced cycles of rise and fall. This is not merely a history of institutions but a mirror reflecting the dynamics of order and chaos, guiding us through Qian Mu's insights into the deep logic of Chinese politics and the wisdom behind its successes and failures. Han Dynasty, the foundation and flaws of the commandery system. Han Dynasty laid the foundation for Chinese political systems, with its commandery system shaping the prototype of centralized power. Qian Mu writes, "The Han commandery system is the cornerstone of Chinese governance. This system, centered on centrally appointed local officials, broke from the Hou dynasty's feudal traditions, ensuring imperial authority reached the grassroots." After unifying the realm, Emperor Gaozu Liu Bang initially retained some feudal lords but soon recognized their threat to central power. Thus, Emperor Wu adopted Jia Yi's proposal, implementing the Decree of Grace, dividing feudal domains into smaller units to gradually weaken local power. Jia Yi, a young genius who died at 33, offered profound insights in his treatise on governance. He wrote, "To secure the realm, nothing is better than establishing many lords with diminished power." This was not just a curb on local forces but a reflection on balancing central authority and local autonomy. Yet, Jia Yi's blunt advice led to his exile and untimely death, reflecting a flaw of Han politics. The commandery system strengthened imperial power but stifled outspoken voices. Centralization ensured stability and prosperity, like the rule of Wen and Jing, but sowed seeds of bureaucratic rigidity. Local officials, overly submissive to superiors, lacked initiative, leading to later interference by imperial relatives and eunuchs, eroding central authority. The commandery system was not perfected overnight. It evolved through trial and error. The Qin dynasty's rapid collapse taught Han rulers that overly harsh centralization could spark rebellion, while feudalism risked division. During Emperor Wen's reign, Jia Yi's colleague Cao Kuo proposed reducing feudal power through legal means, but his haste triggered the rebellion of the Seven States. Though quelled, this rebellion exposed the challenge of balancing central authority with local stability. Emperor Wu's Decree of Grace resolved this by dividing and ruling, weakening feudal lords while preserving local governance flexibility. Yet, this balance was not permanent. In the Eastern Han, local magnates rose, and the power of imperial relatives and eunuchs surged, rendering central authority nominal. The Yellow Turban Rebellion marked the commandery system's failure in addressing social crises. Another highlight of Han politics was the integration of Confucian thought. Wang Hongshu's exclusive promotion of Confucianism embedded Confucian ideals into the bureaucratic selection system, blending administrative efficiency with moral aspirations. Qian Mu notes that Confucianism's benevolent governance gave Han politics a cultural soul, inspiring scholar officials to serve the realm. However, Confucian idealism led to formalism, with bureaucrats prioritizing morality over practical governance. For instance, the Eastern Han's proscription disaster saw scholar officials clashing with eunuchs over moral critiques, paralyzing governance. This gap between ideals and reality was a root cause of Han decline. The Han's success lay in the commandery system curbing feudal fragmentation, but it failed to energize local governance. Confucianism lent cultural depth but rigidified the bureaucracy. Qian Mu's analysis reminds us that a political system's success hinges not only on structure, but also on its adaptability to social changes. The Han's lessons teach that centralization must complement local autonomy, and moral ideals must align with practical governance. Tang Dynasty, the pinnacle of the 3 departments and 6 ministries and the chaos of warlords. Tang Dynasty's political system, Qian Mu praises as the zenith of Chinese governance, featured the 3 departments and 6 ministries, a balanced system of decision-making, review, and execution. Department of State Affairs executed policies, the Chancellery reviewed decrees, and the Secretariat drafted policies, ensuring checks and balances for stable imperial decisions. Emperor Taizong Li Shimin, with his enlightened rule and candid advisors like Wei Zheng, made the reign of Hongguan a model of Chinese governance. Wei Zheng famously said, "The ruler is the boat. The people are the water. Water can carry the boat or capsize it." This was both a warning about ruler-people relations and a vivid depiction of Tang's balanced governance. Wei Zheng's blunt criticism, such as warning Li Shimin against extravagance, exemplified Tang's early openness. Li Shimin embraced Wei Zheng as a mirror, reflecting harmonious ruler-advisor relations. However, this openness waned. In Emperor Xuanzong's later years, corrupt officials like Yang Guozong dominated, sidelining candid advisors. The Enlushan Rebellion marked a turning point. Enlushan, as a regional military governor, controlled vast forces in Hebei, nominally loyal but practically autonomous. Qian Mu attributes the rebellion to the contradiction between central authority and local military power. Xuanzong's late laxity and trust in Yang Guozong allowed military governors' power to grow unchecked. Post-rebellion, the Tang relied on local forces to quell it, leading to warlord separatism. Li Deu, a later Tang reformer, sought to curb warlords and restore central authority. He streamlined military spending and strengthened central control, achieving temporary success under Emperor Wuzong, but court factionalism thwarted his efforts. Exiled to Yazoo, where he died, Li Deu's fate echoed Jia Yi's. Qian Mu notes that Li Deu's failure stemmed from the Tang system's structural flaw. The 3 departments and 6 ministries worked efficiently in prosperity, but faltered in crises against separatism. Warlord separatism weakened imperial power and foreshadowed the chaos of the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms. Tang's other hallmark was the mature imperial examination system, breaking aristocratic monopolies and admitting commoners into the bureaucracy, adding openness and vitality. Du Fu's poetry, "To make the ruler a sage and the people virtuous," reflected scholar officials' governance ideals. Yet, the examination's focus on literature over military skills left bureaucrats unprepared for military crises, weakening central control post-Enlushan. Tang's success lay in the 3 departments' checks and balances, but its failure was its inability to counter separatism in crises. The examination system inspired scholar officials but caused a literary-military imbalance. Qian Mu's analysis reveals Tang's complexity. A successful system needs efficiency and flexibility, inspiring elites while curbing power. The Tang's lesson is that political stability must evolve with social demands. Song Dynasty, the glory and weakness of the civil service. The Song Dynasty, renowned for civil governance, was called by Qian Mu the pinnacle of scholar official politics. The refined examination system selected talent through rigorous tests, ensuring bureaucratic openness and professionalism. Emperor Taizu Hao Quanjian peacefully disarmed generals with a cup of wine, establishing civil over military governance. This avoided Tang's warlord issues but introduced new problems: military weakness and factionalism. Wang Anshi, a key Song figure, launched reforms like the Green Sprout Law to ease farmers' burdens and strengthen the state. However, his reforms sparked fierce disputes between reformists and conservatives. Sima Guang, incomprehensive mirror for governance, criticized the Green Sprout Law as burdensome to the people. Wang Anshi countered that reforms aimed for a strong and prosperous state. This was not just a policy dispute but a clash of ideals. Reformists prioritized efficiency, conservatives stability. Wang Anshi's dismissal halted reforms, leaving Song's fiscal and military issues unresolved. Qian Mu notes that the Song's civil service, with scholar officials as its core, drew elites through examinations, infusing rationality and vitality. Yet, factionalism between reformists and conservatives split governance, leading to inconsistent policies. The Jinkang incident, a military failure, also reflected the civil service's coordination shortcomings in crises. The Song's civil emphasis weakened it against Liao and Jin threats. Culturally, the Song thrived, with the examination system fostering a vibrant scholar official class driving literary and philosophical advances. Zhu Xi, with his bold poetry and sharp commentary, epitomized Song scholar officials. Exiled for opposing reforms, he wrote Ode to Redcliffe in Adversity, showcasing their resilience. Yet, Zhu Xi's plight highlighted Song's limitation, an open civil service undermined by factionalism. Qian Mu sees Song's success in its cultural vitality but its weakness in civil-military imbalance and decision-making splits. The Song teaches that an open bureaucracy needs efficiency and unity, with fairness inspiring but factionalism warning against internal division. Ming Dynasty, the rise of the cabinet system and the perils of autocracy. The Ming Dynasty's cabinet system, Qian Mu views as the peak of imperial centralization. Emperor Taizong Huanzong abolished the prime minister role, establishing the cabinet as an advisory body, directly controlling decisions. Strengthened imperial power but faltered when emperors were incompetent, paralyzing the system. Tang Juzhang's reforms, like the single whip law unifying taxes into silver, boosted efficiency and revived the Ming mid-dynasty. His performance evaluation law ensured policy implementation, but after his death, reforms collapsed under Emperor Wanli's neglect and cabinet unit conflicts. Qian Mu notes the cabinet system's efficiency with imperial centrality but its fragility without checks when emperors faltered. Eunuch Wei Hongxian's dominance and clashes with the Donglin party deepened corruption. The Ming's extreme examination system, emphasizing formulaic eight-legged essays, selected talent but stifled innovation. Officials like Hai Rui, known for integrity, were sidelined for their rigidity, reflecting the system's suppression of initiative. The Ming's success was in administrative efficiency, but excessive imperial centralization and formalized examinations limited vitality. Qian Mu's analysis warns that governance needs checks and intellectual openness to avoid efficiency and vitality losses. Qing Dynasty, the rise and fall of the Eight Banners and redemption fines. The Qing Dynasty's Eight Banners system, blending Manchu and Han cultures, formed a unique centralized model. Qian Mu writes, Qing governance built on Ming's system with adaptations. The Eight Banners, with Manchus at the core, ensured imperial control through military administrative integration. Emperor Kangxi consolidated authority by quelling the three feudatories and reclaiming Taiwan. However, the banners later decayed, losing military function and relying on Han landlords and merchants. Emperor Yongzheng's redemption fines allowed officials to pay for crimes, boosting short-term revenue but fostering corruption. He Shen, a symbol of this system's absurdity, amassed wealth through corruption yet was trusted by Emperor Qinlong for his competence. His downfall marked Qing's political decline. Qian Mu sees the Qing's success in its flexible Manchu-Han integration, but its failure in stagnant innovation and rampant corruption. The Opium War and Taiping Rebellion exposed the Eight Banners' weakness and fiscal crises. Kangxi's Confucian patronage, like compiling the Kangxi Dictionary, won Han scholar officials' support, but Manchu dominance limited their advancement. The Qing's lesson is that governance must evolve, balancing cultural inclusion with oversight, as short-term gains can mask long-term crises. The deep logic of gains and losses, power and culture intertwined. Qian Mu not only analyzes five dynasties' systems but uncovers their cultural logic. Chinese politics' endurance stems from Confucianism's profound influence, emphasizing benevolent rule, ruler-advisor harmony, and people-centric thought. From Han's recommendation system to Tang Song's examinations and Ming Qing's bureaucracies, Confucian ideals inspired scholar officials. Yet, Confucianism's idealism led to formalism and over-centralization, stifling local vitality. For example, Dong Hongshu's heaven-human correlation tied imperial power to divine will, rigidifying the system. The Tang's literary focus weakened military capacity, Song's factionalism drained governance, Ming's cabinet lacked checks, and Qing's banners decayed. Another feature is the family-state unity, from Han's feudal clans to Qing's banners, enhancing cohesion and stability but risking division in crises. History's mirror, lessons for modern governance. Merits and demerits of political systems in dynastic China is not just history but a guide to governance wisdom. Qian Mu distills universal principles, balancing centralization with local autonomy, civil with military, and imperial with bureaucratic power. These resonate in modern governance, like Song's examination system inspiring fair and professional selection, or Qing's banner decay warning against neglecting institutional innovation. In modern business, Han's commandery system resembles centralized management, efficient but rigid, while Tang's 3 departments mirror decentralized teamwork, needing coordination to avoid conflict. Qian Mu's grand perspective urges viewing issues long-term, balancing efficiency with fairness and innovation with stability in today's globalized, tech-driven world. The symphony of figures and systems. From Jia Yi to He Shen, historical figures' fates mirror systemic gains and losses. Jia Yi's exile reveals the commandery system's suppression of talent. Wei Zheng and Li Deu show the 3 departments' openness and limits. Wang Anqi and Hang Juzheng reflect civil and cabinet systems' potential and crises. He Shen's corruption exposes the 8 banners' decay. Their efforts and failures underscore that a system's success lies in execution and adaptability, not just design. Conclusion: history's wisdom and the path forward. Merits and demerits of political systems in dynastic China is a timeless political textbook revealing Chinese governance's deep logic through 5 dynasties. Qian Mu's grand perspective highlights Confucianism as the soul and institutions as the backbone, with examinations and scholar officials infusing cultural vitality. Yet, rigidity and power imbalances drove cycles of rise and fall. This book offers lessons for modern challenges, from national governance to corporate management. The Han teaches flexibility in centralization, the Tang coordination and decentralization, the Song unity and openness, the Ming checks and authority, and the Qing innovation and oversight. With Qian Mu's wisdom as a mirror, we can navigate today's complexities, finding direction for a wiser future.